for this 16th day of August, 2022. Let the record reflect it is 8:30 a.m. We're in the Hill County Courtroom in Hillsborough, Texas. This meeting's been posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Open Meeting Act. And this meeting is open to the public both in person and online. Ms. Paul, as of 8 o'clock this morning, has anybody signed up for online commentary? Being in the negative, no one has signed. Please let the record reflect further. The quorum of commissioners is present and established with everyone being here. First order of business on our calendar today is going to be open forum. Is there anybody here for open forum today? Going once, going twice. If it comes up, we can circle back to it. Let's go into court orders. Number one is discussion and/or roll call vote on proposing a tax rate. Gentlemen, I have some tax rates here we need to propose today. We have, as you know, several years ago, House Bill or Senate Bill 2 changed the terminology in some of these things. So we've calculated a no new revenue rate, which is not something I can recommend that we take this year due to inflation being 0.91%. And the last numbers we've talked about are based upon what's called the voter approval rate, but ours is unadjusted for increment. You're allowed to only 3.5% new income. You can take previous years. I don't think that we need that at this point, and I'd like to reserve that just an increment, at least in the general fund until next year, because those solar panels come online at that point. So at this time, what we're looking at for general fund tax rate would be a 0.389494, 0.389494. And we'd take the maximum for the road and bridge, which at this time I show as 0.069685. I believe that's correct. Ms. Susan just walked in. Give her just a second, and she can tell me if I've got these numbers right, wrong, or indifferent. So what I have is on the road and bridge, I have.
Could we have a copy of that?
Yes, sir. By all means, forgive me. I'm so sorry. Paula, can you make copies of this real quick? What that is, I'm sorry, I'm working off a worksheet. I didn't hand the rest to you. I apologize. What that worksheet is several different tax scenarios. It's both the last year's rate and then the proposed current year's rate. Miss Susan has created it. And it shows us what our no new revenue rate is, and I cannot recommend that we take that. It shows what our voter approval rate, which unadjusted for last year's increment, and then it shows voter approval rate adjusted for last year's increment, and it breaks it down both for general fund and for the FM lateral. With the FM lateral, I'm suggesting you gentlemen take the maximum you can. That includes the voter right under the voter approval rate, along with the unused increment. That'll give you that 0.069 number, because that's going to take. With all the new construction, the new valuation, that still suppresses the tax rate for the FM lateral from 0.0707 down to 0.69 and change.
So we're lowering the tax rate overall.
Yes, we are lowering it overall because state law says you can only take to this amount. Okay.
6 cents?
No, sir. No, sir. 0.6 of a cent.
Yeah.
No, no, not even that. 1/10 of a cent. Yeah, maybe 2/10 of a cent. Not much at all. Yeah, all the lowering is going to happen on the general fund side of the house. So sorry about that, gentlemen. So if you look, we have in that first, all right, you have a column that says preliminary 8,510. And you look at the column there, second column says total rate. You go down that total rate. That gives you an idea of what you're looking at. So we go over to the general fund, which is the second column from the right, the fourth column from the left. And you will see the first row in blue. And that shows a voter approval tax rate unadjusted for increment. That's that 0.389495 that I'm recommending. I'm sorry, 0.389494 that I'm recommending for the general fund. And then on road and bridge, you have voter, the first column, and I'm colorblind, so I really don't know what color that is. Is that a brown or what is it? This is peach. Okay. So that voter approval adjusted for unused increment. Because like I said, if you don't take the entirety of that 3.5% every year over a 3-year period to let you carry that increment with them. You guys have taken most of that because I keep recommending you do so in FM lateral. We have needs to take care of in the roads. That's what that fund is for. But even with all of our unused increment from previous years and the voter approval rate, it's 0.06968. And I think we need that to be a 5 instead of a 6 on that last digit. So my recommendation for road and bridge is you take 0.069685, which is the maximum that I believe you can take. It still is going to suppress the tax rate down from 0.07704. So the adopted property tax rate for Effingham Lateral for this last year is 0.07704. So it's more than I thought. Your commissioner is almost a penny. It's about 3/4 of a penny is how far it's suppressing that rate. Forgive me. Yeah. So that's the recommendation for road and bridge. And then for the general fund, I'm recommending the voter approval tax rate that's unadjusted for increment. And that will provide us a 0.389494 number. And that makes up the INS and the M&O. And at that 0.389494, we're suppressing the tax rate about 3.5 cents.
Second.
That's a motion, apparently. Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anybody in the audience? Anybody got any questions about it? If not, I got to call a roll call vote. That means I'm going to call for the question, but we will have to vote independently one at a time. As is tradition, I will start with myself, Judge Lewis voting in the affirmative. Commissioner Montgomery.
Andrew Montgomery voting in the affirmative.
Commissioner Crumpton. If you agree. All right, Commissioner Hawkins. Affirmative. Commissioner Lake, affirmative. Yeah, let the record reflect that the proposed tax rate is as follows for the general fund, 0.38949, and for the road and bridge fund, 0.069685. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate that. Number two is another part of our elected official salaries. I did bring you copies of this. So at least I'm halfway where I need to be. What this is, the proposed income, I'm giving you guys a direct copy of the notice that we use each year that we have to run in the paper. So it shows with the 5% cost of living increase that's proposed in the budget at this time. And then what our last year's salary supplement as proposed to this year's salary supplement, salary and supplement, I should say. And it shows the increase. This is all required by Texas Local Government Code Section 152013 as part of our budgeting process. This particular notice has to run in the paper. I have spots reserved right now. So as soon as this meeting's over, Mr. Schottengame, the reporter, will run this for us in this Thursday's paper, which will keep us on track. This has to run a certain number of days in the paper before we can take any action on the final budget. So where we're at right now, this is a proposed 5% increase. I've had the auditor double checked it. Mr. Holmes got a chance to look at it. I appreciate both of them. I'm not going to lie, in years past, there's been typos on this and I've had to come back sheepishly to ask you guys to fix it. So we have made sure to do that up front this year. So this is the elected officials as proposed. Okay, we have a motion to accept the elected official salary as proposed. And we'll put a copy of this in the record for you, ma'am. No, this doesn't need a record vote on this one. We just need to take action to propose it. This way I can send out today. The other thing this institutes, forgive me, I need to tell you this. By proposing it now, I can go ahead and send this out to every elected official, and anybody that's got qualms with it can ask for a review. There's an appeal board that we've unfortunately had to do before. I don't anticipate that this year, but if some elected official is not happy with their salary or believes they need more, there's a formal process they can request. And by us taking action and officially propose this, it starts that clock running and we can get all that out of the way. All right. Well, we've had motion, we've had second, we've got discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. Number 3, we'll discuss and include employee wage status changes. I've got a bunch of them, guys. You want me to read through all of them? You guys get a chance to look at them?
We've all looked at them.
All right, if everybody's looked at them, I entertain a motion. Thank you. Motion and second. Any discussion on employee wage status changes? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to pass that around for signatures. Number 4, pay the employees.
Make a motion.
Motion and second to approve the payroll on this, the 16th day of August. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
You sure look like you feel bad.
That felt better, Commissioner. All right, we've got invoices in front of us next. The Treasurer's Office sent out an email yesterday. I hope you guys got an opportunity to review it. You know, at this time of year, we're getting towards the end of the budget year, so there's a few more invoices than normal. So,
Make a motion, second.
all right, we got a motion and second to pay the accounts payable invoices for both 8/10 and 8/16. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Discuss and approve monthly bank balances. I don't seem to have that in front of me. Can we take that next time or? Do you? I must, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I got it right here. Monthly bank balance report. I got a bank balance report, total cash for beginning of the year, 10,871,347.12. And a closing of 9,617,588.70. And that is the bank balance report for this date. Then we've got, well, hold on, that's more than just one. Yes, sir, that's exactly right. That was for July 22. And then for June 22, we had opening balance of 9,250,857.94 and a closing balance of 10,871,347.12. Monthly bank balance report for May of 22. We started with $8,363,878.43, and we closed with a closing amount of $9,250,857.94. On April 22nd, we had a beginning balance, April of 22, forgive me, we had a beginning balance of $10,661,964.30 and a closing balance of that month of $8,353,878.43. March of 22, we had an opening balance of $9,070,729.97 and a closing balance of $10,661,964.30, which matches the month following. And last but not least, we have February of 22. We had an opening balance of $9,489,130.80, closing balance of $9,070,729.97, matching the numbers from beginning to end. And those gentlemen are the monthly bank balance reports for the last 6 months. A motion and a second to approve. Is there any further commentary or discussion on this? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 7, discussion or action on the security proposal for Hill County Precinct Number 1, Huron Barn.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. This is for cameras. We're using the LSI, the vendor's LSI, same vendor that we used at the main building at Huron. Those cameras will be starting to install tomorrow. This is for, I'm proposing option number 2. He gave us multiple options on Commissioner Montgomery's still out there. Option number 2 includes 3 cameras. I believe 2 are fixed and 1 is a quad, if I remember correctly. On the northeast corner, it would be facing south, so it would cover that man-door. And then on the, I guess it would be technically the southwest corner. It's under a covered area. There's another man-door on the south side of the building, so it would cover that man-door. And then there are all those open bays. Approximately halfway down, we install a quad camera that can look down both ends and out into the parking area.
So 1 quad lens and 2 fixed is what option 2 is.
Correct, yes, sir.
I think for $8,975, that's a deal. Consider the amount of money we have in that equipment we have in that building. Trying to protect that, let the world know that we're paying attention. That's a good thing.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, well, hang on, don't leave anywhere. You got another one after this. We got a motion and a second to approve option number 2. Which is 1 quad lens and 2 fixed cameras for the Hill County Precinct Number 1 Huron Barn. And this is in addition to what we've done to the building across the street. And because of that, we probably don't have to have as many cameras on this.
That's correct. The camera on the southwest corner, which is the front of the other building, is going to overlook the entire parking area. So we didn't feel like we needed to necessarily cover that with the camera on the northeast corner of Commissioner Montgomery's barns.
Good deal.
Philip has done an outstanding job running this down. Well, he's got all the I dotted and the T's crossed on it.
Well, I did try to, I got them to come down just a little bit on the price. It was, a little more. They didn't budge a whole lot, but I did, try to do what I could.
You handled them down, so I'm very happy that you went to do it.
Okay.
Very appreciative of it.
All right, well, I think I've got a motion and a second, so I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. I've signed the paperwork and I'm gonna pass it over to you. While we're talking about county barns and security, number 8 is discussion or action on security proposal for Hill County Commissioner Precinct Barn number 3.
Yes, and,
I don't know, why didn't you fix that? Never mind.
Mr. Hawkins' new barn in Penelope, this is also 3 cameras. These are 3 quad cameras, one on the, it would be the southeast corner, is that right, Commissioner? In the northwest corner?
No, northwest, southeast,
Yeah, yes, okay,
southwest.
okay. But they're gonna be able to look down the south and east side as well as out, and then the north and west side as well as out, also covering the fuel depot that have it. And a quad camera mounted on the inside of that building with 360-degree view to see everything from the inside.
Oh, well, that's pretty fancy.
That'd be great.
I thought that said bedroom, not break room. I see now it says break room.
You're one of them taking that. Or you can spend the night, we will have to spend this. one.
No, I'm good. I got my own deal with it. Thank you. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second to approve scope of work on the security proposal for the Hill County Commissioner Precinct number 3 barn. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. That's all the paperwork to be signed. Thank you very much. Number 9, review and approve residential, non-residential, and interagency agreements with the Juvenile Probation Department. Gentlemen, these have passed through. First, we start off every year approving these residential, non-residential, interagency agreements. Yesterday at 1:30, we have published previously and held the Juvenile Board meeting regarding this. And I will tell you, these all passed through the Juvenile Board meeting with no problem. I will note out to you, though, that we're going to sign contracts with people we may or may not be able to use. One of the reasons we have so many different contracts is the difficulty in finding placement for young offenders nowadays. And Chief Lincoln's done a great job. She's got to go pretty far afield some days to get these kids into treatment. But she's bending over backwards to try to make this happen. So go ahead, Chief.
That's really all I have. Y'all are used to me coming and just having these contracts approved, and I will be back before the court. We are actually extending our contracts out even further, just because our needs continue to grow, and then of course the lack of detention beds. So I will be having probably a few new contracts that will be coming through once I get them. Of course, we go through that process of David reviewing them first, and then juvenile board approval, and then bringing them to the commissioner's court. But we're having to do that because we can't have detention. So.
How many kids do you have? In the facility?
I have several that I would ideally, I think David and I, David, we're talking about too. I have several that I would ideally like to have in detention or in long-term placement. There's just not dollars there for it. And then there's not space for it either. Detention, we don't detain at all. I know you have an opportunity to review that sheet I provided last week in the budget workshop, and we don't detain near as much as I feel like we should. But that's not for lack of effort or trying. It's just simply we can't find beds. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit too.
Well, I can tell you it's something that like this has to be addressed in pretty near future. They're probably they need to detain a kid right now. They're probably making 8 to 10 phone calls to their facilities before they can find a bed, if they can find a bed. I mean, here lately, we've had 2 or 3 that we just had to release back to the parents because we couldn't. I don't know if we should talk to some other nearby rural counties and see if we can work something out with them. Obviously, doing something regional like that, you don't want to be in bed with McLean County because they dominate the
Swamp you. But I do agree.
They won't let us use their detention facility.
I agree. You've got starting in the Southwest Falls and, going up Limestone, Navarra, Freestone, back over Bosque, Comanche, whatever's the other side of Bosque. Hamilton. I think it's well worth our time and effort to explore these rural counties, what we can do. Now, I want to let you know, eyes wide open, guys. That mean mean, we're running a juvenile detention facility, which I've never really been a fan of. But guys, the alternative is worse. It's turning some kids, and I'm not talking about kids that are truant to school here. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about kids that stole a candy bar. That's not what we're talking about. Crimes of sexual assault, crimes of worse than that. I mean, just terrible things that you wouldn't want on our streets. You don't want your children, your wife, your kids. So as hard as it is to have that conversation, that's something we're going to have to start looking towards, because the world's getting a smaller place around us. And anyway, I don't mean to be all doom and gloom, but I don't think it'll happen this year. But it is conversations that we're starting at the Council of Governments level, and Mr. Holmes is correct. We have to deal with this.
Yeah, and legislatively, we're addressing it as well. And I'm, like I told you guys before, I will be at the table having all of those conversations. I think, ultimately, what we're seeing in juvenile detention or juvenile probation is we have a lot of juveniles that are on probation, not able to hold them accountable any longer because we're not able to detain somebody on just a technical violation. And sometimes, unfortunately, those kids need to spend some time in detention. That's not always a popular thing, but unfortunately, in my world, that's just what has to happen. And so what we're seeing is a lot of those kids that we have on probation that we're continuing to modify and extend their probation now are committing felony offenses. And so it's just, not being able to be as impactful as we really truly need to be. It's been a really incredible burden. I did mention to you guys last week, we're going to enter into an agreement with Johnson County again, like we did last year, where they do have a bed that they prepay beds. And if they happen to have them available, she's been gracious enough to let us use that. That's been a great opportunity. We will be applying for 2 beds again to share with 7 of us rural counties in Grayson County, which ended up saving us an incredible amount of money this last year. Because I know one of my juveniles was in there for 56 days. And so I didn't have to pay that bill, which was incredible. And then Collin County, even though I'm going to have to pay for those beds, are opening 2 regional beds that are going to be specific for the North Texas region to utilize. So there are some major plans from the regionalization perspective that David talked about. It's been a crisis for a long time, and we're not the only county feeling it. This is statewide, and there's a lot of legislative conversations on how we fix this. So we'll be working hard.
The other thing we're up against right now is TJJD at their door. You can't commit a kid to TJJD right now. So we've got a kid that has been committed, who we are paying for detention in Lubbock. And we're putting that bill up front, and we expect to be reimbursed by the state after he finally gets committed.
We ended up we actually had to move him last week. We moved him on Thursday because he assaulted 2 other kids. So we have kids sitting in detention that are already committed to TJJD and there's at least 170 of them on the waiting list currently in the state of Texas. So that's 170 detention beds that we no longer have access to. So it's really become a crisis. It's been difficult. But like I've always said, with law enforcement, they're incredible to work with. If I can find a bed, I will find a bed. So if something comes up, you guys need us, we will do whatever we can to find a bed. You have to make a lot of personal phone calls, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
I want you guys to know, when we did budget proposal last week, while I was adamant that we get a new vehicle for juvenile probation, is because of this fact. They're seeing more miles on the road with kids than we've seen in some time. And with the kind of child that sometimes we're transporting, we don't have the option of being broke down. So, anyway. Okay, well, no, I don't think so either. I don't know the whole details of that, but as we flesh that out further on a regional level, I'll definitely bring it back and pick everybody in touch. Again, I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm hoping that the governor quits taking money out of the Texas Youth Commission. Well, it used to be TYC. Forgive me. It's I can't think of it. Yeah. Anyway, takes money out of the juvenile program to send it down to this border thing he's got going on. And you forget that money was there in the first place for a reason, is to keep these bad actors off the street. And I know they're kids, but there's some bad actors amongst these kids. We're not talking cherubs. We're talking people who've done some terrible, terrible things. And because he continues to make that choice, we continue to suffer locally. Anyway, I'll get off my horse.
There's been several times since the summer started, and the kids got out of school, that we had some juveniles that pick up and drop what they're doing. What they're doing at the office. I mean, we had the one that stole the car, chased it here on Elm Street, had a stolen firearm with him. It started out, I think we found one in Lubbock, and they just kept saying on the phone, and luckily they found one in March, where I didn't have to drive 7 miles. But we went up to Mays, when I said they thought what they were to do was try to find bids, especially under certain circumstances that, you know, the kid needs to go.
Yeah, they do a great job.
We had a stolen vehicle on our test. And they were able to work a deal with Brandon here. For the Johnson County, I believe, or
Yes.
at least one of their vehicles. I mean, they jumped into the hoops as far as, you know, when you're in the office, it's stuff in the juvenile. I mean, if you're fishing Monday, you've got to haul it back to the jail, and you hope and pray they find one really close, especially if it's at the end of the day, and you know, you're out there, and they're the ones that are making calls for you, and they have you one Granbury. Yeah, that's a lot closer to us.
There you go.
Yeah, and I had to ask the sheriff's office to transport one that we had in Bell County, which was actually this TJJB commit. You transport him from Bell County all the way up to Lubbock County, and they very graciously did that for us. And so anytime we have kids that are really at higher risk, we will usually request law enforcement, and everybody, I mean, y'all know our county works really remarkably together. So I never have any issues working with everybody. I mean, they're just phenomenal. I'm very grateful for them, and Justin, like he'll drop a hat for us to go transport. And so I like to call him and harass him sometimes.
Well, don't call him today. He got a little issue, transmission on that truck, gave him a little trouble
Yeah, he's
yesterday.
gonna-
So
by our- You know, which is perfectly fine for us.
good deal, good deal.
Really, the TJJB has-
Yeah. Can't hire him, won't pay him enough to get him in, can't hire him. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have at number 9, is review and approve residential, non-residential agency, interagency agreements with juvenile probation department. I make a motion that we approve aforementioned residential, non-residential interagency agreements with juvenile probation department. Any further discussion on this issue? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Number 10 is review and approve a cooperative working agreement with each independent school district in Hill County for the truancy prevention program operated through juvenile probation department. As you guys are probably fully aware, the juvenile probation department and Judge Brazel both in combination operate our truancy prevention. And I think it's a very important program they do. And we renew this each year, and I recommend its approval to this board this year.
Make a motion.
Yeah.
Motion and a second. Is there any further conversation? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Lincoln, thank you so very much for being with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on today's is budget workshop on today's agenda. Anybody got anything for budget workshop? Come on up, let's talk about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I want to thank you and your people for working on this. I know you guys have had a lot of hours lately.
You'll let Martin know. Short one. Anyway, on the top sheet is, we looked at 16 other counties. 4 counties have very structured payroll steps. And then 4 counties, well, it should be 3, pay their workers all the same amount. The counties under 100,000 population and greater than 19, the highest paid, I put the highest and the lowest. Coriel, you'll see in a minute there. Thought the superintendent pay was most closely correlated to ours. Then, let's see. Oh, and then the second highest pay excluding the foreman, and I've listed those. And then, of course, the 2 counties closest to our population are Cook and Brown. And we're pretty close with Brown County. And ultimately, we'll just have to decide, do you want to make road and bridge workers all make the same? Do you want to separate it by years of service or other? The next page is just a quick synopsis of what Hill County is. by precinct, by years of service, just the highest to lowest altogether. I've just put the workers' initials and their annual pay. And then I sorted it by years of service. So we're kind of all over the place. Our foremans both make approximately the same amount of money, within $500. So we only have 2 foremans that I could gather. And then the next page is more the first legal sheet. I've gone in and tried to put some figures for each of the other counties, what their population is, how they have those classified. If it has a highlighted figure, then that was on the first sheet. Oriel's down at the bottom. They're on a unit system, so I'm not sure how that applies. They do have like A, B, and C for each level of work. I don't know what worker 1, worker 2, worker 3 means. I have shop foreman 1 and shop foreman 2. Then we had superintendents and maintenance foremen on Oriel. And then the next page was, those are all the ones under 100,000. They're on the first page, and the next page, Comanche, Taylor, Bell County. I mean, we're pretty close to Bell County, actually. Ellis County, Leon, and then the 4 smallest were at the bottom there. Then the next page is just another thing on our road and bridge people. I think April tried to reach out and get the different classifications on that. They're pretty much all the same.
Most everybody has a CDL.
I think we just have one person without a CDL license.
I mean, you got one person that's not a motor grader operator. Wow, our guys are fairly well cross-trained. Good job.
So I don't know if we're going to make some differentiations there.
It makes a lot of difference. My guys, as well as y'all, we put in culverts, we got to put down in the ditch, the road grading, the on gravel. I mean, they don't do it on the job, they do it with the jack of all trades. So I don't know that you can divide up what this person does or whatever, because over the deal of the year, they're going to do a little bit of everything, other than we don't chip seal, Larry chip seal, but then we may do something else, and so I don't know that. I don't see personally making a big difference. This is just food for thought.
Yeah, I'd like to get something pinned down by the 23rd though, so we can kind of, at least in a general idea. I mean, I know we're not setting the budget to bed till 13th, and we can have more meetings. But at least by the 23rd, I'd like to get some ideas that we could broach to each other. Again, I'm sorry. Susan and Tamara have put in a lot of hours on them, but it's the time now that we need to get you guys to let us know which way you think we need to go on this and what it looks like. Remember, we've got longevity in our payroll policy. It takes care of the number of years. So we got longevity for the number of years. That's not a big issue. But how do we classify others? And they've kind of put together what other counties around us do. Do not get together in a group, obviously, but think about it amongst yourselves and kick any ideas you've got back to us by email, by phone, whatever. And then hopefully we can put something together. It's a little more narrowly tailored by the 23rd and have a discussion in court on it at that time about what you like, what you don't like, what you think is going to work, what you think is not going to work. But we can get this reconciled and show the rest of the county we can do what we need to do. And now we can take care of them afterwards. What else we got for budget?
We were going over your elected officials. There were a few that were incorrect in the proposed budget.
That's to be expected.
I think Gravity needs some information over. Check off the employees.
Well, I'm just glad that you caught it last night. I appreciate it. She got it back to me about before 10 o'clock last night. Thank you for that. I know you're working late. I know you So, but I've got the numbers in this new, the numbers that you forwarded, including supplement and the new proposed deal, and that's one we approved earlier. I'll ship it to Shannon Cotton game here right after the board.
Are we meeting next week? Yes.
I don't have it on the calendar at this time, but if anybody thinks we need to, I'm happy to do so. You just remember during budget time, we have a lot more of these meetings than normal because we've got to sit down and tackle these issues. But yeah, we can meet next week if we need to.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Regular.
Sorry.
That's why.
23rd next week already, ain't
Maybe you'll feel better next week.
it? Where's the month gone? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
God's got something on.
We're meeting the 23rd, yes. I'm
Exactly.
sorry, I'm having a morning.
He's working on lots of hours, no sleep, and a kidney stone about the size of his coffee.
That kidney stones thing was ruining my day at the moment, so.
I want
Yeah.
to give everybody some food for thought before we adjourn on this, and we'll discuss it later. I really, if I have to put in out of my budget, I really want to get the IT people a vehicle. I do not want to see them driving their personal vehicles around here. I'll get into it later if you want me to, but I think it's a liability.
Okay. Well, I have no problem with that. Let's have that discussion. Let's just talk about what that looks like. You know, I'm cheap.
Let's do it next week when you,
Okay, you know, I'm cheap old German. My proposal to just have spend the least money possible. But I do see a point that you're making there. I do catch what you're telling me. It's worth something to talk about. So,
I would say getting Kathy full time. Karen went to White Road yesterday and it looks like that's gonna go.
okay,
And they seem to accept $75 per deal.
so gentlemen, there's been a change in our 911 addressing. You might be aware several years back, early 2000s, I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, that we entered an order as commissioner's court. I know none of us are here, but we did. No, it'll be all right. We'll get it knocked out. Anyway, long and short of things, we have 911 addresses in most of the county and it's uniform. For whatever reason, that didn't get applied to White Bluff and they were going to take care of it. And, you know, different things happened. And Karen McClendon, our 911 address coordinator, has gone to White Bluff previously before the ownership change to try to get this corrected and they weren't interested. But it's a problem out there. It's a big problem. There are certain common areas like pools and tennis courts and hotels. They don't have correct 911 addresses. So when there's an emergency and you call them, there's no good way to get to them. And I don't know if any of y'all have been to White Bluff. Most of you probably have. It can be a labyrinth back there. It's a straight up maze. So it came back to our attention. There was an issue. We had a meeting here last week. I don't remember the day now. Martin was there, but it was Tuesday. Fire chief, some other people from White Bluff, members of their POA board, their attorneys had a real productive meeting. And then they took that information back to a POA meeting that was yesterday. Karen showed up for it and they've agreed to move forward to readdress it and correct it. Now that's going to be a heck of an undertaking. My understanding is there's something like 6,200 lots out there. There's not that many houses yet, but there's that many lots. To do that is not something that we have the ability, A, do all at once, and B, do without bringing Kathy on full time, because you're going to have someone helping Karen. To that end, we're not absorbing the cost. They're going to have to pay for this. So they've got a number in mind, what it's going to take to do the 911 addressing, that kind of stuff. And as we move forward and work out what is our cost of doing business, we have to recover that cost. So I don't want anybody to think taxpayers in the rest of the county are subsidizing this. They're not. But we have changed our position from the proposed budget regarding a second individual in the 911 addressing office because of this particular project. That's to the end out there. There's going to have to be some number changes, a lot of number changes, because there's even and odd numbers both on the side of the street. You'll have 8,100, 8,200, 8,500, 8,300. Just no rhyme or reason address. The bigger issue is White Bluff has multiple subdivisions, multiple phases of subdivision, and there's places that got the same street name in two different locations. So we need to get that straightened out. It's a health and safety matter, and I think we're going to be good to move forward. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. What else have we got today, guys?
I'm gonna make a motion with adjourn. Second.
All right, we got a motion second to adjourn. We stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention.
Feel bad.
I'm having a hell of a day now. I have felt better. I'm not gonna lie.
You look better.
Yeah, well, not much, I'm sure.